Should you tilt your panels in the winter? That, and I discuss some other topics with my channel coming right up. Stay tuned. Okay. Well, it's Doc Zwei again here. I know you haven't heard from me in a while. I've been awful busy. Had 23 ash trees in my front yard, and I got all but 3 of them down here. The Emerald ash borer got them, so had that to do. My son bought a new place, and I had to cut trees down there too. So I had a bunch of stuff to get ready for winter, and I've been busy. I've been collecting stuff. So I just want to make sure, though, when we start out here that you know, I buy all the stuff with my own money, and I'm here just to share my experience. I'm not here to make any money. Believe me, I don't need to make any more money. So I'm not going to monetize my channel, and so I really don't care. You know, I know there's guys out there, affiliates, whatever. Hey, that's their way of making a living, whatever, you know, but I don't need it. So, as you notice, I'm here at my shop, and I also grew my winter beard. And Uncle Tony's garage, he's got what's called the boomer chair, but I have what's called the executive chair, and I like this one a lot better. This is my office chair. Now, we're not in my office, we're out here on the shop floor. Now, if you look behind me, you see a big box back here. And those familiar with some of my posts on the do-it-yourself solar farm, and maybe saw one of my first videos, know that this is what I use to hold my battery cell. So you can guess, I'm building another bank. This bank is going to go here in my shop. This box is a little bigger than my last one. This one's probably 20 inches deep. My old one was only 12 inches deep. Don't know for sure what cells I'm putting in there. I see Eve's coming out with a 560 amp hour cell, and they might fit in here. Don't know. I'm gonna do some load reduction for sure here in the shop. Utility company sent out letters a couple months ago, and they're going to increase the rates here by 20%. And I said, well, at least I can put the lights on and the office computers, and this is heated with a propane condensing boiler, so I got backup power for that, you know, in case power goes down. This is still on grid, so whether I run everything off it, well, I don't know. Hard to say, you know. Depends on the inverter, depends on, you know, how it handles it. Might be parallel. Midnight's coming out with some new ones, and that could be a good fit here. I was interested in solar, but I'm kind of hesitant there. The EG4 18K PV, it's in a possible there because it has a 200 amp pass-through, and that might work very well here. So in the following videos here, I'm going to be building this box, and another thing is a bunch of us on the do-it-yourself solar farm got in on a deal where we bought a pallet of 370 watt panels. It was 31 panels, and I got them for $2,000 delivered to my door. You know, and there was a bunch of us that got in on that deal, and I'm glad I got in on that. So some of those panels are going to be here for the shop, and I'm going to add about 4,000 watts to my house. I've been generates pretty good PV here. Now I'm going to show some videos here later with some charge controller output. And those videos were taken today. I had some made earlier, and I had some formatting issues, and I decided I might as well just reshoot it. And so I shot it today. Now we have snow on the ground, and my panels are tipped 65 degrees. So it's pretty unbelievable what I'm getting here for output. I mean, it's amazing. So, but in the meantime, I ran across another MT solar mount, and you'll see the mount that I currently have up in my current array. And those MT solar mounts that I got are used. The fellow that had them got hit by a tornado, and it bent over the poles, and it broke the adjusters. And so I'm going to have to fabricate up some adjusters, and I got some new 8-inch poles. There's going to be 8-inch poles, not 6-inch. So I got those coming, and come summer here, I'll be putting that up, and I'm going to take you through all that. So, you know, I got a lot of things going on here. Besides building this, we're going to be putting an inverter in here. And one more thing is I'm going to build another garage. Putting in a gasification wood boiler with thermal storage. And part of the deal with the thermal storage is eventually I plan to move to air to water heat pump and then store excess PV, run that with excess PV and store that in the thermal storage. So yeah, you know, it's going to be an interesting ride here for the next couple of years. I got a lot of things going on and I'm still working full time. So it's going to be a interesting bunch of videos I come out with. Now, how often they come out, who knows? Whenever I get them done, you know. I've been working on this one for probably 2 months and finally getting it done. So the first video I'm going to show you is inverter out or charge controller output, and that's off of 4,240 watts of panels. Those are 530 watt JA solar panels in an 8S configuration. I've checked VOC here at about 20 below. The VOC of the panels is 49.5. Might as well figure 50. And with an 8S, you know, it should be around 400. And with the cold weather, you know, it increases. So, you know, I've seen as high as 410, 420. But operating range of that MPPT is 450 volts and the VOC rating is 500. On the 370 watt panels, I've been looking, and that's another deal. I've been looking at all-in-one inverters and look at the VOC rating because I'm trying to find something that'll fit fairly well. And one other thing is I'm going to make my, I think I'll make my arrays where I can switch PV and switch it over to a different system and back and forth depending on where it's needed. So I've been looking for something for that, but you know, that's a hard item to find, you know, but I'll come up with something, you know how it is. So anyway, that first video was shot today. I had some issues with formatting on some previous video I'd shot for it, so I reshot it today, and then following that will be my array. You'll see that, and then following that is I did a video here with the first snow we had and how long it took for the snow to melt off. Then I went to a neighboring town and they've got a fixed angle array at 45 degrees, and the snow on theirs, they lost easy 3 days of production, if not 4. I didn't go back up and look, but we got hit with a blizzard here a week ago today. Today is Saturday, and my panels were clear and producing already on Sunday. I do know that I was there on Wednesday or Thursday, and as cold as it's been, that stuff ain't going anywhere. And I'll go up there at the end of this video, before the end of the video, and I'm going to shoot some footage there and show you what's that, and then I might even just wait to release this video until it melts off. It's supposed to warm up in the 30s, so you know they're going to get lucky. It will eventually clear off. So, but yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. You know, a week of production, and I've been pulling 50 kilowatt hours easily off of my 8,420 watts of array. So I've been taking the excess and heating my house, you know, with resistive heaters and using a heat pump. Yeah, the heat pump works pretty good, but you know, when it gets cold, they go and defrost an awful lot, and that really hurts the efficiency. So, you know, that's part of the reason I'm going with wood, and you know, I'm trying to be energy independent as possible. Let's put it that way. Probably have a backup with a condensing boiler for the thermal storage and the radiant heat I'm putting in the house. So, you know, I got a lot of things going on here, but it'll be interesting. So, on these boxes here, you find them on Craigslist, you find them on Facebook Marketplace. You'll find them out there for $1,000. Don't be paying that. I paid $200 for the first one, and that was probably 12 inches deep. This one's 20, and it's a little wider, and I gave $250 for this one. So, you know, you look around, you can find them for $500 and under. Might have to travel a bit. I had to travel the other night, and some blowing snow and that, but, you know, it was a couple hours away. I'd found one previously for $500. It was all stainless, and that was 4 hours away, and I decided I didn't want to go after it. I thought the stainless might be harder to work with anyway. Whether I repaint this one or not, I don't know. The front looks pretty good. The back's got some scratches, so you know, by the time I get done drilling holes in it, modifying it for my use. So don't know what I'm going to use for BMSs yet. You know, I have Baytrim in my other one, and I really like Baytrim for cell monitoring. Been checking out the JKs. Probably might even go with the older JK yet. haven't decided. Might just go with the older JKs and the display screen. You know, there's some, do I need inverter or charge controller input? Not really, you know. A lot of guys have it. I don't see really a need for it. I mean, I did know, I watched Andy's video on the JK and the settings that were in there. And yeah, there's some good settings in there. I mean, there's some stuff you could do there that's pretty neat. So, you know, I might go that route, but more than likely, it's going to be the cheap route because I'm trying to get by as cheap as possible on this deal. So, you know, I've got $2,000 in the panels, and I got $4,000 in the used mount, and the mounts are twice what I need. So you know what that means. I'll probably be putting more up. I do have a little modifying to do with those. Those were on a single pole, and they were 5 panels high in landscape. You know, boy, they were really up there. I said, wow. You know, that's a lot of force on that. I'm going to cut the rails down to only 4, but I'm going to make it a double pole on the one. And the other one is going to be a single pole. That'll be 11 panels, believe it or not. And I'm going to run those to my LV6548 MPPTs because I haven't been using those anyway. And I'll just run it there because it's going to be a short distance. Those are going in the front yard. So I'll walk you through on that. I'll show you how you put one of them up. And really, there's not much to make in one if you really wanted to. I can tell you that. So I located some long jacks, believe it or not. The adjusters were broken on those that had been through a tornado. They used mounts, you know. And he collected the insurance and got the salvage and was just selling it off. And he had 53 panels. And they were 300 watters, and he had a whole pile of N-phase microinverters, but they were like 290 watt ones, you know, and I think he's gonna have a hard time selling those because just due to panel sizes increased so much, you know. The person that bought the panels should have probably bought the microinverters, but I wasn't interested in any of that. He just had it all for sale, and I just said, hey, what do you want for the mounts? Because I recognized it right away that were empty solar mounts. And I had been dealing on Sinclair, and that started the 6th of December. And I put a sales order in, and they said they had to send it to engineering because I wanted 4 foot of clearance at maximum tilt. Well, their maximum tilt's only 55 degrees, and I prefer 65. But I would be willing to live with the 55 if I had to. The only other problem with the Sinclair is, you know, you can put them as a portrait pattern, and they're too high, 2 panels high, and it would have taken a lot of length. And I'm kind of limited on where I'm going to put this. You know, there's only so many places in my yard that have good sun, and the array here for the shop will catch some shading late in the day in the summertime. So, because there's some trees to the west from my windbreak, and they're not getting cut down, they're staying. So, the array in the front yard will get shading from, in the wintertime, when the sun goes down by 3 o'clock. Because there's a hill here and there's some trees, there's a big woods across the road, and the sun gets in behind there and starts shading the front of my yard pretty quick. Where I have my array currently for the house there, that is the best spot in the whole yard. And I use a few apps, you know, if you have any questions, you know, say it in the comments and I'll show you what I use. I'll make a short video on what I used to survey my site, and believe it or not, it's behind my shop building here, and I don't get any shade from the building. This building's 60 feet wide with a 412 pitch, so you know it's up there probably 26, 27, 28 feet at the peak. And I don't get no shading because I use those online tools and apps to check out and survey my site. So the arc from the peak of the roof misses their solar array. So we're gonna get started here on those videos here. We're gonna show the output, and then I'll show you my array, and then I'll have a video there showing how long it took to melt my panels off. And then after that, I'll show you the ones in that town there that the city has there for running their sewer plant. And that's grid tie, by the way. And then I'll probably have another video after that showing how much snow is still on their arrays after 1 week, you know. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get started, all right? Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. I've got 4,240 watts of panels on there, and I'm getting 4.52 kilowatts out of this charge controller, and 4.4 440 on this charge controller. Like I said, these are 4240 watt strings, 530 watt panels, and an 8S configuration. Okay. Got down to 16 below last night, and so the sky's clear, and she's really putting her out today. So anyway, I'll show you my array here next. Okay, here we go. This is my array. It's 16 530 watt panels, JA solar. I run them in 8S strings here, so I have two strings, one string to each charge controller down in the house. So okay, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, the clouds are pretty well clearing up. There's a little haze, light haze in the sky, but it ain't too bad. It shows pretty blue here, but believe me, there is a little white wispy stuff up there. Okay, some will be saying all of them are probably bifacial panels. Well, they're not. They're just a single mono. Okay. I showed you what the output was in the video there coming through there. Okay. Now I'm going to show you what I got for ground. How I do this. I bought these lugs off Amazon. And just screw one in each panel, run my bare copper through it. I use a clip every now and then, just hold it up there. See, like there's another one. So basically I just run a loop from the one end down to the bottom here, ran up, and then I just ran back. And then once you get up here, as you can see it, I use a pair of U-bolts there to hold on a stranded wire, because my panel tilts here, my array. It's currently tilted at 65 degrees because, you know, it's supposed to snow in the winter, but hey, no snow this winter. Well, it was earlier, and I'll show that video too, how long that took. But anyway, you can see I come down, I got a drip loop there, comes down my masthead. We're coming down here to my box here. I got an IMO disconnect. Wires up here, wires up here, and wires up here. Basically the wires come down the masthead to this cheap Beaver box I picked up off of Amazon. I ran 8 gauge wire down here from the array. I run 10 gauge down after that, but down to the house. So you see that, there's a pair of breakers, and then there's protectors. Okay, now your ground, let's see here, you see that close up. So there's my ground there coming down from the panels, and I go to this central bonding point here on the backing plate. The only thing you need to run as far as grounding here is this EGC, and this goes all the way to my house ground rod. Okay, these two wires here come from up here from the disconnect. Of course, you know, it runs from here out the breakers up and then to the disconnect, and then comes back down. Pretty simple. Okay. The other two ground wires here are, of course, for the SPDs. I run an expansion joint here. I made up my own clamps for around these 6-inch posts. Just used some ready rod and some scrappy uni-strut I had laying around. It worked pretty good. So I run it down. Now here's my foundation. Holes were 36 inches in diameter, 8.5 feet deep. I ran the conduit through, you know, before I poured the cement. The only mistake I made is I should have ran 2 pieces of conduit. You know, by the way, you can see the shadow. It is 1 o'clock here, just a little bit after. So, you know, and that was about the time I took the video of the output. So my conduit's big enough. I ran 1.5 inches, so I can add more wires. It's 420 feet all the way back. So I'd show you more of the mount, but I think I'm going to do another video of that some other time. Basically, you know, it's just some long I-beams. You can make your own. These are 34 inches or 34 feet long. So you get a long I-beam and some square tubing. The thing I don't like about these is the pivot here, so close to where the crank is. But they turn easy. You just turn one, you know, about 3-4 turns, and then you go over and do the other one. Like I said, currently at 65 degrees for winter. I highly recommend these IMO disconnects. They're cheap. They're rated for, you know, 450 volts here. I need to change that lock. I gotta have a screwdriver to get that dirty bastard open. That's the only problem with that. It was plastic and it broke. So if you get one of these, order a latch for it right away, because you'll thank me later. So basically that's about it for this. I'll talk to you later and give you another overview of some other things here. All right, so now you've seen all that and you've seen the production numbers, we'll have a little more commentary. So you can see we got a little snow there last night. It's 9 a.m. We'll see how long it takes for all the snow to slide off of here. So be back in a few hours. Okay, it's 10:15 here. The sun was shining here till about 5 minutes ago, and this is as far as I got. It's now clouded over pretty good here, so I don't think we're going to get much production today. But yeah, you can see how fast it melts it off. I mean, you're talking an hour and a half, and the only reason it was stuck on there was it was warm enough yesterday when it rained, or snowed I should say. It all froze and stuck, you know, and the roads are all icy here, and so, but yeah, that's how it goes in the winter. You never know. So later. These are panels here at 45 degrees here. It snowed Sunday, and anyway, today is Tuesday, so there's 2 days lost production. So here we are out in the country. This is a hog setup. These don't look too bad. They actually pretty good. I didn't see too much sun or snow on any of these. There's a little bit here on this, but that ain't nothing. We'll go check some more out. So this is day number 8. It's a little bit after 5 o'clock. The sun's been down. Did shine most of the day today, but as you can see, there is nothing there for production. So here's the same panels next day. The front rowers cleared up pretty good. The rest of them, not so good. But this was day number 9. We'll go look at some other here real quick. All right. So here's some rows farther back. Ain't doing much. Now this whole array is like this. The front row is pretty clear. These back 4 rows, not quite so clear. Now, yesterday I showed those ones that hog set, and I think those are a little more exposed, and maybe the snow didn't settle on them as much. I have seen these here where the snow slid off, and then it covers the bottom row of the cells. So, all right, later. So here's another array the town has here. Yeah, you can see there's some problems. Right. Okay, so follow up here. I showed you those videos. Yeah, you know, if you're going to go off grid, or you know, you want to maximize your production, you really need, especially here in Iowa anyway, and it gets cold here. You know, you get 2 weeks of cold weather here where it doesn't get above 10 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, those panels aren't going to clear off. That's just the way it is. Now, in December here, I had the last few weeks of December and first part of January, I ended up going back on grid. I used 147 kilowatt hours off of grid. They just didn't have any sun. I mean, in 4 weeks I had 3 good Sundays. So, you know, that's pretty tough there. You know, there was, you know, if you were off grid, you would have been running a generator an awful lot. But, you know, when you run lithium iron phosphate, you know, you could pour the watts in them, you know, they'll take it. So it's a lot better deal than back in the old lead acid days, you know. But yeah, in this country here, you know, and you gotta have panels that tilt. So number one, the snow doesn't collect on it. Number two is that little bit that might be stuck on there disappears pretty quick. That's huge, you know. I mean, you can't afford those lost days of production, you know. Those are a big deal, you know. Most of the guys around here that are grid tie, I've talked to them, tell me that they usually run out of their bank by, the first or second week of January, you know. And their true update's in March, so, you know, that's a big deal, you know. So, you know, my brother runs a wind generator, a 17.5 kilowatt Jacobs, you know, on a 110-foot tall tower or something like that. And that's got like a 26-foot swept area. And I sometimes wonder, I should compare notes with him and see what he does get. Now, they put up 66 wind towers around here, and I know today they weren't spinning. There wasn't any wind. And it was actually a calm day, but it was cold because I was unloading like this box and some other stuff today, working outside, and, you know, and it was, I think it got down to like 15 below last night or something like that, and it's going to get there again tonight. So, but yeah, that's the problem here is it gets cold, that snow stuck on there, it doesn't come off. The other thing is when you look at my array, any questions on how to do grounding there, don't put a auxiliary grounding rod at your array. Just run your EGC from your array with your PV wires to your inverters or charge controllers. That's all you need. You know, if you watch Mike Holt's videos, you'll understand that. But when lightning hits close by on an array like that, if you have a ground rod there, and you know, and I have the issue of, you know, I have a steel pole encased in concrete sitting in the ground, you know, but you can get there's a voltage gradient created there, and it can enter in and get in your system, you know, and burn out quite a few things there. So, you know, a direct hit, you're not going to save anything anyway. You know, that's just the luck of the draw. But, you know, lessen your chances there as much as possible. That's my best advice. So, do your grounding like you're supposed to. Make sure you have all your panels grounded. I know, like, Iron Ridge are the new rails I got, and they claim that their rails only need the ground on each rail. I still prefer grounding each panel and tying them all together, and that's probably the way I'm going to do the rest of them. Yeah, it costs you a little money. Yeah, well, whatever, you know. Some people waste their money on $8 coffees or something. I don't know. I guess I waste mine on copper wire. But so yeah, like I said, it was 420 feet from my array down in my house, and I run the voltage up there pretty high. That gets your efficiency up there. I think some of the problems some of these guys are having with the charge controllers, like that EG4, and I think what their issue is they're paralleling their strings. Well, you know, if you got much distance, you're going to have some power loss there because you're upping your amperage. You know, that's exponential on your power loss, the more amps you run through your wires. You know, I only run 10 gauge wire down through there, and it cost me $600. Now, originally I was going to use my LV6548s, and then I went to, of course, the EG4 6500s. I had trouble with those, and ended up going back to the LV6548s, but I had already set up for my high voltage strings. And so that's why I ended up with the EG4 charge controllers, because I could run that higher voltage, you know. But it was going to take number 8 wire, really, so I didn't have much voltage drop. And, of course, the original plan was I was going to put the array up in the front yard, but then I changed my mind, and I'm glad I did. But it was take number 8 wire, and it was going to cost me, because I'm limited to only 250 volts then per string, it was going to cost me $2,600 for the 8 gauge wire to run that down in my house. So going to a higher voltage with 10 gauge only cost me $600. So, you know, when you're figuring this out and you're looking at inverters, you're looking at panels, you know, you should always look at what your VOC is going to be. Look at what your, you know, and the move has been towards higher and higher VOC, but, you know, the 600 is going to be the limit here. And Midnight says that their new inverter they're coming out with is supposedly going to be, I think, 600 VOC rated, which I think the EG4 is 500 or 600. I'd have to go look at the specs, but, you know, that could be a deciding factor for me on which way I go. I did look at the SRNE. And I've been in contact with SRNE, and they are releasing a 10 kilowatt inverter in a few months that's parallel. Currently you can only get a 10 kilowatt that's a single, you can't parallel it. It's a 120. It's a split phase inverter. It does 120, 240. And a lot of guys are just using a single one and getting by running their house or something, you know. But for the shop here, you know, it just depends on what we're going to see for loads. I haven't even got a monitor put on here yet on the panel. I should get that done and just see, you know, what my loads are going to be. In summers when things are really loaded. My job is that I specialize in air conditioning on semi-trucks, off-road equipment. And my shop is air conditioned, and I run two 2-ton air conditioners here. And I'm probably going to change those out pretty soon here too, because I'm probably going to put in some mini splits here just to gain some efficiency. Because I can tell you right now, the electric usage here is pretty high. But, you know, my neighbor says, well, how can you afford to do that? Well, I said, you know, if it costs me $10 a day to cool the shop, you know, I can make that back in about 10 minutes. So believe me, you know, business is good for me, you know. But, you know, that's been a good business for me. I'd like to retire, but then again, I don't know what my customers are going to do. And they're begging me to stay working. And I guess as long as they're still paying me, I guess I'll keep working. So the winter, I'm supposed to have more time off, but I'm supposed to be in Arizona and Texas right now, and I'm kind of glad maybe I'm not there because it's cold there. I just soon stay here. I got a warm shop to sit in. So until next time, keep collecting some rays and enjoying the sunshine. Hopefully things are going good for you, and stay warm. All right? Later.